This episode is all about cars of the sports stars. And the car I'm driving right now, one of the most iconic sports cars of all time. 1976 Alfa Romeo Spider. 2-liter engine, 110 horsepower, 5-speed transmission, a lot of fun to drive. So what does this have to do with sports stars? This car, this very car, was owned by one of the most famous athletes of all time. You're gonna find out who it belongs to in just a minute. First, I gotta find an old pal of mine who really get a kick out of this car, and its owner. But I hear he's fallen on hard times. Oh, Hey, Billy.
Hi, Jay.
Yeah.
Wow, what a small world.
Yeah.
And a small car.
Yeah, nice to see things are going well. Hop in.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, thanks for littering.
Well, you know,
Appreciate it.
do my best.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good, I'm all right. You know, it would take too long to read this guy's credits. If you know Billy Crystal, you're in for a treat. If you don't, hit the pause button and spend the next week watching all of his movies, old Saturday Night Live skits, the 9 Oscars he hosted, his Tony Award-winning Broadway show, 700 Sundays. Then come back and you'll appreciate just how far he's fallen. Well, you're a big sports guy,
Yeah.
obviously, right? Oh, open the glove box. I want to show you who this car belonged to. Whose name is on there?
Oh, my God. It's Ali's car?
It is Ali's car. Did you know he had an Alfa Romeo?
No, I had no idea. He had this Rolls Royce that I knew that
He had a brown Rolls Royce, was at the Ali Museum.
Look at that.
Yeah, but he went in to buy the Rolls, and, you know, the salesman, I guess, sold him this to put in the glove box or something. Muhammad Ali was one of the greatest boxers and most influential athletes that ever lived. His boxing accolades are beyond incredible, but he was just as fierce and controversial outside the ring. He stood up for what he believed in, didn't care who loved or hated him, and became one of the most important figures in the civil rights movement. It's really no wonder why his nickname was the greatest. And you spent a lot of time with him, didn't
Yes, I did. I mean, I was fortunate, and, you know, when I first started out, as you remember, I did him.
you? mean he did an impression?
Did-
You
yeah,
know, in this climate, you can't say, I did him.
I got you.
Because, yeah, that's a whole different,
Okay.
yeah.
First of all, when I first started to realize I could do him, I didn't really start out to do him.
Yeah,
I started to do Brando in The Godfather.
yeah.
And I heard something else. It was like, Michael, I didn't want this for you. I wanted you to be Sonny Corleone. But instead, I beat Sonny Liston. I became the greatest fighter of all time. It was in there. So I said, I made a left turn into him. And then, just by chance, I did a local television special. It was my first time on television.
Right.
And it was honoring him. And I ended up on the show because I could imitate Ali, and did this 3-minute hunk of him and Cosell. And he loved it. And he called me little brother that night. And that's what he called me for 40-something years.
Wow.
And it was really weird to have time with him, like, just as a friend. Where you'd get a call and Janice would say, Muhammad's coming over. You know, when do you hear that?
Yeah.
You know? So the roles I knew. He called me up. We were living near each other, and he said, "You want to meet me? Get a hamburger. I'm going to be at the McDonald's on La Brea." So I drive over in my Capri.
Right. Oh.
And he's at McDonald's, but he's in the Rolls Royce sitting in the back with 5 bags of hamburgers thrown to people. Must be 1,000 people in the parking lot, and let's go get a hamburger together.
Right. That's funny.
It's hard to imagine Ali in this car.
I know. He would look like a circus bear driving this thing. His head would be sticking way up here. You know what I mean?
A circus bear.
Well, you know what I mean? Just I mean that, and you know him waving and throwing hamburgers out. You know what I mean?
Amazing. One time, he and I and Arnold Schwarzenegger
That's funny.
are at a thing for a watch company, and Ali's doing magic tricks, and he used to love to do these magic tricks, but then because of his religion, he'd have to explain the trick because you're not allowed to deceive anybody.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so he'd do this thing. See, what I did was I had a phony thumb, and then I put it in there, and you thought that it was real. He's got this pink plastic thumb. It's bright pink, and he's holding it up like this. And Arnold's looking at him, going, "I don't get it. How does he do it?" And Ali kept going, it's just magic. And he's like, looks like he's hitchhiking to Bakersfield. And Schwarzenegger still can't figure it out. How does he do it? Did you see how he do it? No, did you really dumb? And you run a state? He had an amazing sense of humor, very smart, and I always kept pinching myself that I was with him.
Okay, can't have Billy on without doing the obligatory two old guys talking about the good old days. Back in the early days, most of the comics, like Billy, were from New York. I was one of the few guys from Boston.
Right.
So whenever guys would play Boston, you'd stay at my place.
Yes, on Commonwealth Avenue.
That's right.
And you're very kind that you called it a place.
Yeah, well, it was...
It was a bombed out, holes in the wall.
Well, Freddie Prinze had stayed there a couple weeks earlier, and for some reason he had a gun. He just kept firing shots until he blew a hole.
That's why the holes were in the wall?
Yeah, from the bedroom into the living room. He would fire the gun and just until you could look into the...
Yes.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Yeah, so there was a wreck, but there was a poster of Robert Klein.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I love Robert Klein.
Yeah, he was great. And Robert live, like late at night at the Improv,
Oh, yeah.
was really something great to see.
Yeah, yeah. I used to sleep in the alley next to the Improv at night. I would just curl up next to the trash cans. And it was awful. I remember sitting there, and then prostitutes would bring Johns in the alley, and I'd hear these horrible noises, and I go, really? This is my life now? This is horrible.
But they were great days because anything was possible.
That's right. Yeah.
And we were really finding our voice.
Yeah, yeah.
And making,
everybody sort of pulled together.
Yeah.
Hey, Billy, thanks for doing this.
My pleasure, Jay.
Thanks for being my first guest on The Tonight Show, and thanks for being my last guest. And thanks for being a great show business role model, too. You really are. You got a great family and a great life. And, I used to say if I had a career, I'd want it to be Billy Crystal. Before I kind of got successful, I would watch yours, and I would model myself after you. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Let's see what this thing will do. Hey CNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Here you'll find videos from all your favorite CNBC shows. Be sure to subscribe by clicking right here. Click on the videos around me and watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.